From the Corner Office, the podcast that pulls back the curtain on everything talent acquisition, human resources, and recruiting. Presented by Corner Office. Whether you're building teams, leading HR strategy, or hunting top-tier talent, you are in the right place. Please join today's hosts, Alan Ingram and Chatty G, who will share their insights, explore trends, and give you the tools you need to disrupt, transform, and supercharge your talent team. So let's get to work, pull up a chair in the Corner Office, and take a deep dive.
All right, so let's dive into this.
Okay.
You know that feeling you get, that wave of frustration from the hiring manager during their recruiting process.
Oh, yeah.
We've all probably felt it. I'm Alan Ingram, and I'm here to help you decode the secrets to keep those hiring managers happy.
Yes. I'm Chatty G, ready to unpack some serious wisdom from Corner Office.
Corner Office.
Yeah, they really seem to have cracked the code on successful hiring. They've laid it all out in their article. The hiring manager is pissed you're to blame. How to never be in that position again.
Wow. That's a powerful title.
It is.
It'll make you sit up straight.
You'll want to take notes.
You're telling me the title alone, it reminds me of this one time. Well, maybe we'll save that story for later.
Okay.
But the point is, Corner Office, they don't really sugarcoat things.
No, they don't.
They hit you with the reality.
Yeah.
Mismatched candidates, unrealistic expectations, hiring processes that just drag on forever. These are the things that really drive hiring managers up the wall.
They get straight to the heart of the matter, don't they?
I do.
And their advice? Well, it's surprisingly simple.
Really?
But it's often overlooked.
Okay.
They advocate for a complete mindset shift.
Okay.
As a recruiter, you're not just an order taker. You're the hiring expert.
Right.
You own the entire narrative.
Hold on a second. Own the narrative.
Yeah.
What does that even mean in the real world of recruiting?
Right.
Is it like some mystical power we need to unlock?
It's more about taking charge.
Yeah. Okay.
Being proactive from the very first interaction.
Okay. So,
imagine this.
okay.
Before you even send out that first email, you've already anticipated the potential hiccups.
Oh.
You've thought about those tricky salary negotiations,
Right.
those must-have skills. That might be impossible to find. You've got a plan, and you present this plan to the hiring manager.
Okay.
Not in a, this is how it's going to be way,
Okay.
but as a collaborative roadmap.
Okay. I see.
That's owning the narrative.
So it's like showing up at a meeting.
Yes.
Not just with the problem.
Exactly.
But with the solution already sketched out.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's about being 2 steps ahead.
Got it.
Anticipating those landmines
Yeah.
before they blow up the whole process.
Right.
A crucial part of this is nailing the intake call.
You mean that initial chat where you try to figure out what the hiring manager actually wants?
It's much more than a chat.
Okay.
It's your blueprint, the foundation for everything that comes after.
Right.
It's like starting construction without knowing what kind of building you're making.
Yeah.
Corner Office emphasizes this call needs to be structured
Okay.
and strategic.
Go.
It's where you dig deep into the job description, the ideal candidate profile, salary expectations, the timeline, and crucially what happens if things go off track.
Okay, so it's about getting granular, going beyond just the generic,
Yes.
we need a rock star developer type of description.
Exactly. You need to understand the nuances. For instance, instead of just accepting excellent communication skills on a job description, you ask the hiring manager, what does excellent communication look like in this specific role? Give me an example of a situation where this skill would be critical.
So you're not just taking their word for it, you're really teasing out the specific behaviors and skills they're looking for.
Right.
I like that.
And when it comes to the ideal candidate profile, this is where you as the hiring expert really shine.
Okay.
You can help the hiring manager separate the must-haves from the nice-to-haves.
Right.
If they're expecting a unicorn with a decade of experience and the salary expectations of an intern, that's where you step in with some real-world insights.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
You're essentially managing expectations right from the start. So let's talk about salary.
Okay.
How do you navigate that potentially awkward conversation during the intake call?
You hit it head on.
Okay.
You need to be upfront about the budget.
All right.
You might ask, What's the salary band for this role? Is there any flexibility? This prevents those frustrating situations where you find the perfect candidate.
Yeah.
Only to discover they're way outside the budget.
Oh, I can only imagine.
And trust me,
Yeah.
that's a conversation nobody wants to have later down the line.
Yeah, I bet. And it's not just about salary, right?
Right.
We need to pin down a realistic timeline, too.
Absolutely. When does the hiring manager ideally want this position filled? And here's a pro tip.
Okay.
Aim to beat that timeline. It shows you're efficient and proactive.
Okay.
But let's be real.
Okay.
Things don't always go according to plan.
Right.
What happens when a candidate ghosts you?
Oh, yeah.
Or the budget gets slashed?
Sure.
Or some other unexpected hurdle pops up? Corner Office has some really insightful advice for this.
Well, I know what I've done in the past.
Oh.
Panic, avoid eye contact.
Yeah.
Hope it magically resolves itself.
Yeah.
What's the right move here?
The absolute worst thing you can do is go radio silent.
Yeah.
Hiring managers hate that.
I bet.
Remember, you're the expert. And part of being an expert is handling those curveballs.
Right.
Corner Office stresses the importance of transparency.
Okay.
If something goes wrong, own it immediately.
Right.
Don't try to hide it or make excuses.
So it's like ripping off a Band-Aid.
Exactly.
Get the bad news out there quickly.
Yeah.
But then what?
Then you come to the table with the solution.
Okay.
Don't just dump the problem on the hiring manager's lap. Show them you're already thinking about the next steps.
Okay.
For example, if your top candidate goes MIA,
Oh, yeah.
instead of saying, well, that's a bummer, you could say, hey, our leading candidate has unfortunately gone silent. I've already got a plan B, and I'm reaching out to other qualified individuals. I've also reassessed our sourcing strategy to make sure we're casting a wide enough net.
Okay, so you're demonstrating that you're not just reacting,
Yes.
but actively managing the situation.
Yes.
It's like you're saying, I've got this.
Right.
I can see how that would build confidence with the hiring manager.
Exactly. It's about shifting from a reactive to a proactive mindset.
Okay.
And that's what truly sets you apart as a valuable partner.
This is all fantastic advice.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling this is just the tip of the iceberg, right?
Yeah. There's definitely more.
I mean, we haven't even touched on the blame game.
Right.
Which I know can be a big issue in the hiring process.
It can.
And who is Corner Office anyway?
Yeah.
Are they just recruiters?
There's definitely more to unpack here.
Okay.
And yes, Corner Office is more than just recruiters.
Okay.
They call themselves strategic partners.
Oh.
Which is a whole other ballgame. They've even written a book From Misfires to Hires.
Oh, wow.
Where they break down these strategies in detail.
Okay.
But we'll delve into all of that in the next segment.
Can't wait. This is getting really interesting.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Before we jumped into Corner Office's world, we were talking about how to avoid those awkward moments when things go sideways in the hiring process.
And we were starting to uncover this whole own the narrative idea, which I'm starting to realize is about way more than just talking a good game.
Yeah.
It's about being proactive.
It is.
And anticipating problems before they even arise.
You got it.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is communication.
Communication.
Clear, concise, and consistent communication throughout the whole process. It's like building a bridge between you and the hiring manager.
Yeah.
Making sure they're always in the loop.
Okay, but let's be realistic. We don't want to bombard the hiring manager with every little update. How do we find that sweet spot?
That's a good question.
Between keeping them informed without overwhelming them.
It's about focusing on the information that truly impacts their decision-making. Think of it as providing them with actionable intel, not just a stream of consciousness. For instance, if you've had to revise the salary range, or if a key candidate suddenly drops out, those are critical updates. But if you're just tweaking a job description or sifting through resumes, those details can probably wait.
So it's about being selective with our communication.
Yes.
And prioritizing the information.
Exactly.
That really matters.
Yes.
But what about the tough conversations, those moments? When we have to deliver bad news?
Yeah.
How do we do that without sending the hiring manager into a tailspin?
The key is framing the information in a positive light. Instead of dwelling on the negative, focus on the solution and the next steps. Let's say your top candidate decides to accept another offer. Instead of simply saying, we lost our best candidate. You could say something like, hey, the candidate we were both excited about decided to pursue a different path, one that's a better fit for their current goals. However, I've already identified a couple of other individuals with strong qualifications that I'm setting up interviews with.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
It acknowledges the setback, but immediately shifts the focus to the positive actions you're taking to address the situation.
Exactly.
It shows that you're not letting this derail the entire process.
It reinforces that own the narrative idea we talked about.
Right.
It demonstrates that you're not just reacting to events, but proactively managing the situation.
It's almost like you're saying, don't worry, I've got this.
Right.
Which brings me to another point.
Okay.
Corner Office seems to really emphasize this idea of partnership.
Yes.
Of moving beyond the traditional recruiter hiring manager dynamic.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that a bit?
They absolutely do.
Okay.
Corner Office argues that the best recruiters aren't just filling roles.
Okay.
They're becoming strategic partners, deeply embedded in their clients' businesses.
Okay.
They understand the company culture, the team dynamics, the long-term goals, and they use that knowledge to find the perfect fit.
Okay.
Not just someone who checks the boxes on a job description.
So it's about more than just matching skills and experience.
Yes.
It's about finding people who will thrive.
Precisely.
In that specific environment.
It's about recognizing that talent acquisition isn't a one-size-fits-all process.
Right.
It's about tailoring your approach to the unique needs of each organization and each hiring manager. And that requires building a strong, collaborative relationship. One built on trust and mutual respect.
And speaking of trust.
Yes.
I remember Corner Office had some pretty strong opinions.
They did.
About the blame game.
Yeah.
Can we dive into that a bit?
Sure.
Because let's face it, when things go wrong in the hiring process, it's easy to point fingers.
They really do.
Yeah.
They make it crystal clear that assigning blame is a dead-end street.
Okay.
It doesn't solve anything.
Right.
And it just creates negativity and resentment.
Yeah.
Instead, they advocate for a more constructive approach.
Okay.
One focused on learning from mistakes and continuously improving the process.
So it's about taking a step back and asking, okay, what went wrong here? What could we have done differently? And how can we prevent this from happening again?
Exactly. It's about fostering a growth mindset, both for yourself and for the hiring manager.
Yeah.
Every hiring experience, even the ones that don't go as smoothly as we'd like, is an opportunity to learn and evolve.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
It takes the pressure off and reframes those failures as valuable learning experiences.
Right.
It reminds me of something else Corner Office talks about in their book. From misfires to hires, they emphasize the importance of building a high-performing team.
Yes.
Not just finding individuals.
That's such a critical point.
Yeah.
They argue that hiring isn't just about filling a vacant role.
Okay.
It's about shaping the future of the organization.
Right.
And to do that effectively, you need to think beyond the immediate needs and consider how each new hire will contribute to the overall success of the team.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think it ties back to that strategic partner role we were discussing earlier.
Right.
You're not just a recruiter. You're a talent architect.
I like that.
Helping to build a team that's greater than the sum of its parts.
Talent architect. That's a perfect way to describe it.
Yeah.
And to be successful in that role, you need to have a deep understanding of what makes teams tick, what drives performance, and what fosters collaboration.
And that's something Corner Office really excels at, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
They've built their entire reputation on this idea.
They have of strategic talent acquisition.
And their insights and expertise are invaluable for anyone looking to elevate their hiring game.
Yeah.
They've literally written the book on it.
Right.
And I highly recommend checking it out.
We'll definitely include a link in the show notes.
Great.
But before we wrap up this segment, I want to circle back to something we mentioned earlier. That first intake call. Corner Office seems to place a lot of emphasis on that initial conversation.
They do.
Why is it so important?
That first call is your opportunity to set the tone for the entire hiring process. It's where you establish your credibility as an expert.
Right.
Build rapport with the hiring manager. And lay the groundwork for a successful partnership.
So it's not just about gathering information.
No.
It's about establishing a connection and setting clear expectations.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating that you're not just there to take orders.
You're there to collaborate, to problem solve, and to find the best possible talent for their team.
I'm starting to see why Corner Office calls it owning the narrative.
Yeah.
It's about taking control of the process from the very beginning.
Yes.
And guiding it towards a successful outcome.
You nailed it. And that brings us to another crucial aspect of this process.
Okay.
One that often gets overlooked.
Okay.
But can make or break the entire hiring experience.
And what's that?
Candidate experience.
Uh-huh.
We'll delve into that right after break's over.
Welcome back to the show.
All right, so we've been talking all about
Yeah.
how to make these hiring managers happy.
Right.
And it seems like every piece of advice from Corner Office
Mm-hmm.
boils down to just building that trust,
Yes.
expertise,
Yeah.
and really taking the reins
Yeah.
of the hiring process.
You hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
And now we're going to talk about a topic that can really make or break that trust candidate experience.
Okay, so we're talking about how the people that we're interviewing
feel about the process.
Exactly.
I've got to be honest.
Okay.
I haven't always put a ton of thought into that.
It's easy to get so caught up
Yeah.
in pleasing the hiring manager that we forget about the other half of the equation.
The candidate.
The candidates. But Corner Office emphasizes that creating a positive candidate experience is crucial, not just for attracting top talent, but for protecting your company's reputation.
Okay. I can see how that's important.
Right.
No one wants to be known as the company with the terrible interview process.
Right.
But what does a good candidate experience actually look like?
It's all about respect, communication, and transparency.
Okay.
Just like with the hiring manager.
All right.
It starts with simple things like responding to applications promptly.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a quick email acknowledging receipt.
Right.
And then throughout the interview process, it's about keeping candidates informed, being upfront about timelines, and providing clear feedback. Whether they're moving forward or not.
So it's about treating candidates like human beings.
Exactly.
Not just cogs in the hiring machine.
And here's something to consider.
Okay.
Every candidate, even the ones who don't get the job, can become an advocate or a critic of your company.
Interesting.
A positive candidate experience can lead to word-of-mouth referrals and a stronger employer brand, while a negative one can damage your reputation and make it harder to attract top talent in the future.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Right.
And in today's competitive job market, that first impression is more important than ever.
It absolutely is. And, you know, Corner Office doesn't just talk the talk. They walk the walk.
Right.
They've built their entire business on this idea of providing an exceptional experience for both clients and candidates.
Which probably explains why they're so successful. They've figured out that happy candidates lead to happy clients, which leads to a thriving business.
Good.
It's all connected.
It really is. And that's something that all recruiters, no matter their experience level, can learn from. It's about shifting your mindset from transactional to relational, from simply filling roles to building long-term connections.
And that takes us back to that key piece of advice we keep coming back to.
Yes.
Owning the narrative.
It applies to every stage of the hiring process, from the initial intake call to the final candidate debrief.
It's about being proactive, anticipating challenges.
Yes.
And always striving to create a positive experience for everyone involved.
It sounds like a lot to juggle.
It does.
But I'm starting to see how it all fits together.
Yeah, me too.
By focusing on communication expertise and building strong relationships, you can transform the hiring process from a stressful ordeal into a rewarding and successful endeavor.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Finding the right talent, building great teams, and making a real impact on the organizations we work with.
Well said. And for those of you listening who want to learn more about Corner Office's approach, be sure to check out their book, From Misfires to Hires.
It's a great book.
It's packed with practical advice and real-world examples that you can apply to your own hiring process.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of hiring, I will leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
Remember, you have the power to shape the narrative.
That's right.
You can choose to be reactive, or you can choose to be proactive. You can choose to focus on the problems, or you can choose to focus on the solutions.
And the choices you make will not only impact your success as a recruiter, but they'll also shape the experiences of the hiring managers and candidates you work with.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. Until next time, happy hiring, everyone.
Thanks for listening to From the Corner Office. If you found today's conversation valuable, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share with your network. This podcast is brought to you by Corner Office, With decades of combined experience, our mission is to empower CHROs and talent acquisition leaders with the tools and expertise to assess, disrupt, and innovate their talent acquisition strategies, resulting in higher retention of top talent. Schedule a free consultation by visiting gocorneroffice.com. Let's supercharge your hiring success together.